Welcome back to another episode on the Oak and Rock Fatherhood YouTube channel. I'm Zachary Small, joined by Anthony Migliorino. Anthony, what's going on, brother?
What's going on, Zach? How we
Not
doing?
too much. Today we are talking about nice guys. Are you raising them and how to ensure that you're not setting your children up for a life of pleasing others and making their contentment, their satisfaction, the value or the metric as to which one decides their own sense of self. So, Anthony, I was actually inspired to connect these dots and to figure out, am I raising the next nice guy, by a piece you had written. You were talking about the parenting styles and how they can impact an individual's, their perception of the world and how they view themselves. And when that happened, I didn't even realize I've coached and worked with a lot of men one-on-one that fall into that quote unquote nice guy category. So when we talk about nice guys, when we talk about wanting to please others, the issues they have at jobs with bosses, the issues they have with their relationship with their wife, their issues that they are having in their relationship with themselves. It all stems back to how they view their self-worth. But I never put that back to childhood. When I was working with I helped them get out of it, but you brought it to another level. You brought it to, hey, how were you brought up? And how are we bringing up the next men? So what, is a quote unquote nice guy to you? And how were you able to connect these dots when you created this piece?
I think like any problem that you see, right? Anything that there's something that is causing issues with men, with relationships. You have to look at the root cause. And a lot of times we want to just fix the symptoms, right? We see guys who are in broken relationships, who their wives are controlling them or they're submissive, doing anything to get acceptance, and we want to give them the steps to get better. Um, Being a peaceful parent and learning about peaceful parenting for the last 15 years, I started connecting the dots, right? I saw that there's so many guys who are in dysfunctional relationships. They're not certain. They're not too confident about who they are as far as being a man, a father, even a husband. And when you look back at parenting, and this is something I speak out about all the time. You speak out about it. Is the way we treat our kids, how we're mistreating them, how we're physically hurting them, emotionally destroying them, and all the behaviors that you see in these men. It became clear to me that it was coming from childhood, right? It was these were symptoms of a really damaging childhood. And if we can understand that, we can see that as a parent, if everything you're doing is based on threats, manipulation, you're actually changing who that child should be, right? You're making them shame based, you're making them fight for your affection, for your love. So they're going to change all their personalities and behaviors based on what you show them. So for me, it was pretty simple, right? Peaceful parenting is about guiding your kids to become the best that they can be by using nonviolence, by using communication, cooperation, all the good things that we talk about. And once you start doing that, you see the change in behavior in your kids, right? You see that they don't want to do things for mom and dad because um to gain that acceptance. They want to do it because they want to be good kids, right? They want to have some value in with who they are. So I see that with the nice guy, a lot of men, it's not about being a good man. It's not about being a virtuous man living with honor and courage. They go through life and they're always trying to fulfill a void. And that void for me, I believe it's from childhood. So if we can parent a lot better, we'll gradually eliminate that nice guy syndrome.
I see what it is you're putting out there. I see the message and I see these men, and it's almost undeniable. When you see these young men being brought up in an environment where mom and dad's contentment is top priority, everything is run through that filter. Their behaviors, their actions, their goals, their desires. If it makes mom and dad happy, it's good. If it doesn't align with what mom and dad want, it's bad. The inability for people to see how that can be transferred to what makes my boss happy is good for me. How you don't see that that's leading to I will work extra hours without pay. I will work every holiday. I will do everything to make you happy, even if it means you're manipulating me and I know it. Why did you stay at that job for so long when you knew they weren't paying you your worth? Because I didn't want to let my boss down. Replace boss with dad. It's clear as day. Why did you stay in that abusive relationship? Why did you do everything? You broke your back for that woman who's bringing nothing of value to your life. I didn't want to make her mad because as a kid, when I made people mad, they might have hurt me. They might have hit me. They didn't show love. They removed that connection I wanted in life. Replace wife with mom. It's as clear as day. Yet until I had read your piece, I didn't connect those dots. So what are some ways that we can actually work to ensure we're not raising the next nice guy and we're raising the next good man, which is different than being a quote unquote nice guy?
You have to parent with principles, right? You can't resort back to how you were raised. You can't resort back to traditional parenting ways. We say this often. You have to keep improving as a man. You have to expand. You have to grow, and with everything you do. So if we can understand where the problem comes from, if we can see that maybe the way we're raising our kids is creating nice guys and it's not just some magical phenomenon that happens in society, right? Men don't just become weak and easily controlled because of feminism or Antifa, right? They become this way from how they're nurtured during childhood, right? And we all want to raise strong boys. We all want to raise strong children, but specifically the nice guy, right, is we focus on our sons. And we all want our sons to grow up to be confident, to be strong, to be masculine, to be who they're supposed to be in the world. And you're not going to get strong children from always beating them down. And I mean it literally and psychologically, right? From physically hitting them when they don't listen to you, when they don't behave. There needs to be a different channel. There needs to be a different way that we're connecting to our sons. So every little thing they do, they're not attaching our negative reaction to their negative behavior. And then that's how we build up the shame-based child who every time they fail, they're thinking they let dad down. I let mom down. And they can't distinguish that, all right, this is just something that I've messed up and I need to continue to work better. It's the same thing with men, as they get older. Now you have a man who every little thing he does wrong defines himself as, that's part of his character. And it's extremely difficult to break through. I know you've seen it, right? The men that you work with, it's a tough task. It's real and it's painful. So again, what peaceful parenting does, once we can start to understand that and we say, hey, we need to be better, right? We need to treat our sons better. Then you can understand what was done to you, right? Then you can understand why you have the behaviors you do. And not only are you helping your son, but you start to fix yourself in the process. And I don't just mean fix yourself with becoming better as a man, but healing the old wounds, right? Understanding, hey, man, those things, this is what stopped me. These are my roadblocks. That's why they're here. They're no longer going to prevent me from becoming better. And I think that's once you go down that path, it's amazing the progress that you'll see, right? You can become more emotionally stable. Your mind is at ease a lot more, especially when things get difficult. Because when your kid acts out now, it's not about you. It's about how can I help my son? How can I help my daughter? Instead of saying nobody listens to me, nobody cares about me. You almost become selfless to the degree that you're strong enough now to help your children.
And those same men who are saying nobody listens to me, they don't realize that they're listening to everything. So, well, you don't listen to me. No, I was listening. I was listening when you said I wasn't good enough. I was listening when you were mad that I chose a path you didn't want. I was listening when you looked down on me or mocked me for something that I really enjoyed or appreciated. These kids are listening. But you lose the value of your words when you're saying things like that. When you're acting emotionally, they're listening. When you're stamping your feet, they're listening. When you're sitting and blowing up on their dreams because they don't align with your values, they're listening. And some are changing. All right, I have to change who I am because that's who dad wants me to be. So instead of becoming their own man and the better version of themselves, they become a caricature, an actor. They're playing a role for your contentment. And unfortunately, many of these men, and I say men because we're talking about boys, but they become men as a teen trying to make dad happy, as a man still trying to make dad happy. Why do you think we see the plight of man children with what do they call it? The Peter Pan syndrome.
Yeah.
These young boys, they don't grow up. They're 30 years old and they still don't know who they are because dad hasn't told them all the extra tools. You let them go. You stop telling them what to do. And they never develop the muscles to do their own thing. So they go into the world without knowing how to be a man because you didn't teach them how to be a man. You taught them how to be somebody that would align with who you liked or who you would approve of. That's not being a man. A man chooses his own path. A father supports his child if he wants different goals than himself. And to be your best version of you, if we're talking about fatherhood, if we're going to say, well, I spank my kids to prepare them for the world. I do this to prepare them because I have an impact. If you're willing to admit that you're able to shape your children to being stronger and better and smarter through the use of force, why are you not accepting responsibility when your child turns out to be somebody who's manipulated and controlled? Why are you not willing to accept responsibility for not doing your job? Because you're so many fathers are quick to say, I'm preparing you. All right, but you didn't. Because the results speak for themselves. You didn't do it. You'll talk a lot and say these great things, but it's not working. Anybody, the kids these days are products of the fathers these days. And the fathers these days are products of their fathers. So stop pointing at the generations down and look back. I don't look at the kids these days with an issue because I'm raising the kids these days. My kids are awesome. Why? Because I'm awesome. So I look at parents, man. I don't ever look at the kids. Look at the parents and the grandparents. That's where the issue is. But people don't like that because now the responsibility, that spotlight is shined on them and not the millennials.
Yeah. And listen, there's something missing there, Zach. And what you said about the parents, the grandparents, if you can put it into context. Now, we have a generation who fought right in World War II, the American Revolution. We have all these strong men who've conquered and fought for freedoms and liberty. And then we have their children who are our fathers, and all these masculine men throughout times. They've all done hard things, and it's brought us to where we're at now, right? It's brought us to having all these nice guys. So to me, there's something missing, right? It can't just be about total dominance and always being destructive and chaotic and savage. There needs an element of masculinity to be good fathers again, right? We need to be in touch with that. We need to really get it dialed in and say, what does it mean to be a good father? How is this going to look? We can't just always focus on what the world is doing. We have to bring some positivity, some good energy in our home. And one of the things I see now with this modern wokeness, right, that there are a lot of good men who were raised in strong homes, but we're still trying to fast track the process. We still want to say, all right, our son is 15. I need to bring him into initiation, right? He needs to go through a rites of passage to become a man. But for 15 years, we've beat him down. We've punished him. We've yelled at him. We screamed at him. He has no idea what it is to be a good man. We haven't shown him the examples. And now when we put him out into the world, we get that kids these days, they don't want to work. They're unmotivated. They're lazy. They're weak. They're soy boys. We need to look back at how we raised them for the first 15 years. Those are the building blocks. We can't just throw them out into the world and say, this is what men do. We're gonna put you out into the world and you have to be strong. If they don't have that foundation, it's going to be really difficult. And I think that's where a lot of men, instead of progressing, they regress, right? They get worse because the world becomes scary. The world becomes an obstacle they can't move past because instead of dad taking the time to say, hey, look, I know you didn't do your homework. You're not going to be punished. We're going to sit down. Maybe I'll help you. And if I can't help you, if I don't understand your homework, then don't worry. We're not going to do it, right? We'll tell your teacher that she can call me and I'll have your back. But if we related just simple things like that, our kids would get the support. They would get the confidence. They wouldn't let their parents push them down. And then when they went into school, They wouldn't let the teachers push them down. They wouldn't let the bullies push them around. So there's a lot. This is huge dynamics going on here.
It really, dude. I was smiling earlier because I was like, damn, like you're really hitting this one, and again, you connecting those dots helped me really see the bigger picture. And one of the things, and you sort of touched on this, I think the pyramid of masculinity, you got the food pyramid, work your way up. You said the foundation. You talked about going to war and these strong men. It's easier to go to war than it is to raise a strong man. It's easier to be a warrior than it is to be a father. And people will have an issue with that. Good. You should understand it because everybody's telling you the opposite. Like it's difficult to go to war. You have one objective and you have one job to do. Stay within the parameters. It might be physically exhausting, but raising a child is longer. There's no boundaries. You don't know where you're operating within. You sort of make it up yourself. You choose the rules. And a lot of people default to what's easiest. I'm a man because I went to war. No, your deployment doesn't make you a man. Wearing the uniform doesn't make you a man. Being a man makes you a man. Irrational confidence makes you a man. But that's just the bottom foundation because above the warrior is the lover. How do you interact with the opposite sex? How do you interact with that spouse to raise those children? And the apex of that is how do you live a life? How do you be a patriarch? Warrior, lover, patriarch. That is the pyramid of masculinity. And at the top, we have flipped it to put it at the bottom. Being a dad means nothing. Your role there doesn't matter. As long as you drink your whiskey, shoot your guns, grow your beard, you're a good man. Don't worry about what you're doing with those kids. Negative. That's wrong. It's reversed. It's flipped. It's not correct. And we're seeing it with these young men. And when you see these nice guys being taken advantage of, you can see in their hearts and souls, they don't know different. They don't know why their self-sacrifice is not getting them the end result they thought they would. If I put everybody else first, if I make them happy, then I get a reward like I did as a kid. You didn't get hit. In the world of marriage and real life, there's no cookie to be given to the man who's not strong. There's no pat on the back or hug from mom and dad when you don't stand up and follow your mission. There's a men who are taken advantage of, divorced, stripped of their children, stripped of their respect, stripped of their responsibilities in life that gave them any sense of purpose. All of that's removed, and then you die. Broken, wishing, wondering what happened to you. Or you die before you ever enter the grave. You walk around without a mission, without a vision, without any sense of self. And to what you were saying earlier, the wounds of pain, of childhood pain that you can heal from. If a lion is out hunting and it's got a big ass like splinter in its paw and it can't run, it can't catch food, and it gets weaker and it gets weaker and it gets weaker and it dies. Pulling that splinter out, lion's back in the hunt. Pulling and healing from the pain of your childhood by helping your children is pulling that splinter out. You can get back out there. You can, you know what? I was slowed down. I was hurt. And I guess this would be a great time to shift. How do you stop the cycle? And how do you stop raising nice guys? We talked about healing from childhood trauma, so we could start there. When you face your issues and you just simply become aware that what you're doing is creating a child who's dependent upon you for their self-worth. When you stop doing that and then you face yours, you start helping your child grow and helping yourself grow, like you said earlier, you then see the whole world more clearly. You don't just default to, hey, do this because I said so. Or you have to like the same color as me. You have to play the same sport as me. You have to do the things I do or I will not appreciate you. And I always bring it up. I'll bring it up again. I never played a day of baseball in my life. I played football. My son loved baseball. I became a baseball coach. I didn't care at all what sport my kid played. I just wanted to be involved in his life. If my son and daughter want to build rockets, go on the chess team, become debaters, like I am going to become that. I'm going to help them in their world. They are not a clone of me. They are not me. My job is to lead them. As a father, when you start to view it like that, you can stay you. Be the best version of you. Keep growing you in your own way, like a fingerprint. You're unique, but so are your children. So help them do their version of what you're doing. I think that's an excellent point of recognizing the issue and then being able to solve it.
Yeah, 100%. It's to be preventative, to understand how things work is the ultimate superpower. And, ways that we can prevent this from happening is by simply parenting better. It sounds weird, and most people, they want to just, you got to be strong. All right, so how do we get stronger? Right? What does that look like? If you constantly have your children where the way that you go about parenting or disciplining in your home is about always submitting to your power, you're going to create kids who learn, that's what they learn. They learn that lesson. And instead of going out and finding their own path and encourage them to go on their own path, to be their own autonomous person, we have everything they do is based on what we show them, how we behave around them. So now there's no way they can be who they are, right? Everything they're going to do, how they're going to act and behave is either based on avoiding punishment, avoiding discipline, or getting love and acceptance. And that's exactly what nice guys become, right? They don't live their life for themselves. They live so they can get that praise from other people. And what's really destructive about that, the praise that they're searching for sometimes comes from people who don't even care about them. That's, to me, that's insanity, right? When you're trying to get praise from a parent, we can understand that, or from a spouse, right? It's somebody you've made a commitment to. But when you really fall into the weakness is when you want acceptance from people you don't know, who don't care about you. And that's a difficult road to go down, because it really just diminishes who you are. So now, if we can go back to the parenting aspect, and when your child does have a problem, when they do misbehave, instead of being reactive, and I say this all the time, we have to learn how to respond. Instead of punishing, we have to learn how to connect. So when your child has a tantrum or freaks out, instead of pointing out everything they're doing wrong and getting harsh and strict and restrictive, be more responsive, right? Get down to their level, connect with them, create a healthy attachment. So when your child is feeling stress, they know that dad's the safe space, right? Dad is the spot that's going to bring them to a better place. Now, when they get older, if there's other things that go wrong as a teenager, even as an adult, my kids are adults now, and we have the best conversations about how to solve problems, how to fix things. Never do I point out and pick them apart, everything they're doing wrong. And never are they afraid to share with me what's going on with them, with their lives. Well, I shouldn't say never. Sometimes there's obstacles we have to move past. But the more that you use your parenting status to connect, to create, and to build relationships, the greater chance you're going to have to minimize how controlled they are later on in life by other people who don't care about them. And to me, that's the premise, right? You want to make that connection. You want to show them exactly what a healthy relationship could look like.
And in that, you find the goal that most parents are looking for, which is a relationship with a child that you enjoy being around. When you stop taking off these things as like, you are my son, you must do things about, when you step back, you're your own person. You are an interesting individual who has something to bring to the table that's different from me. And that's when you can have those real conversations. You no longer, are only praising them or happy when they please you. You're happy just, hey, you're here. You're your own person doing your own thing. And that in itself is an interesting dynamic. I coach a lot of youth sports, watch my kids do their thing. When they do well, I'm like, awesome, fist bump. Good job working hard for that. When they do poorly, hey, good job showing up. What did we learn? Cool. Let's work on, like, awesome. This is great. It's never, you get dad's love when you're perfect. You get dad's love when everything is going your way. Look, dad's here and dad always loves you. And you're going to have a lot of things not go your way. Neither do I. Guess what? I still love me. I still work on me and try to improve myself. That never changes. If your love changes with the performance of your child, you're not understanding what it is to be a parent. Your child should not have to perform for your love. You love your kid. Highs, lows, lefts, rights, everything in between. And this is one of the things they love to throw. And I don't know if you've caught this, but when you're in an environment where you're talking about these things, be a leader, be a man, be strong, be committed, they put you into this category of being a bigot. What if your child praises a different God than you? I don't care. What if your child's gay? I don't care. What if you try and they try to chop you down because they have this preconceived notion that you're living in this bubble? It's absolutely incorrect. Being strong should never be associated with being how to properly word that with being
Your
blind
identity.
and yeah, like being a strong man has nothing to do with a certain boxes to check outside of you are doing your thing on your terms, living your best life. And when it comes to judging people, you judge the merit of their character, not their sexuality, not their religion, not their skin color. That applies to your children. Do you? I'm judging the merit of your character. I'm helping you raise and refine your character. And I'm going to show you the way to do it in a manner that's going to help you be prepared for the world, to not be manipulated, to not be abused, to not accept less than whatever it is you deem your worth to be. And if they choose their worth to be something that you don't agree with, that's not your call as a parent. You can talk to them about it. You can let them know. But if they're like, this is what I want to do, okay, do it your absolute best. And I'll be here if it doesn't work. And I think if we can get more parents on board, sort of my way is the right way, and I'm here for you. Here's my way. You do it your way. We'll see a lot less nice guys and a lot more strong men because they're going at life on their own. They're setting their own terms. They're setting their own boundaries. And they know nobody is to manipulate me, to touch me, to force me to do anything I don't want to do. And that's how you don't find yourself in the situation we're in this modern era where we're seeing the problem with kids these days. Because strong men would be raising strong kids. And the kids these days wouldn't be going through a lot of the issues they're going through. They would be prepared and strong enough to withstand the mirage of ads and targeting that's coming from mainstream media and entertainment at large. They are going after the kids. They're doing it with surgical precision, but strong kids are aware. I'm not going to like this because you told me to like this. I'm not going to act like them because you told me to act like them. I'm going to do me. And they'll find great success. And the haves and the have-nots, we can close that gap, but we can't do that until the fathers and the weak dads, the nice guys, we can close that gap.
Yeah. It's a tough task. You, as a father, you have to know what your responsibility is, right? It's to raise healthy children, not to control them. And what most fathers do is completely control their kids. And they don't even understand that what's motivating them and what's driving them is how they were controlled, right? We just have this notion that we're doing what's best for them. We're leading them to a better place. But so many fathers struggle with this, right? There's so many, the majority, overwhelming majority of parents, not just dads, they hit, they punish, they treat their kids cruel. They use threats to control behavior. And never do they think that what's driving them are the same fears and shame and toxic emotions that they've built up over the years. Because it's hard to confront that, right? You have to say, you really have to take ownership of yourself. And you have to say, what does it look like to be a good dad? What is that? What do I do? What does that feel like? How do I go about it? Instead of just following the old ways or letting the overwhelming burden or pressures of your childhood affect how you treat your children. So I think, again, going back to awareness, the foundation of it, we start there, right? We heal ourselves and we say that we want to be a good father. All right, what do we do? What does that look like? We obviously listen to Oak and Rock Fatherhood. We get some information. But besides that, we talk to other fathers. We have conversations. We don't be afraid to face our demons or to slay those dragons. We don't minimize who we are because we start to understand that the stronger we become, the better our children will become. And that looks, there's a million different ways what that looks like. We talk about it all the time, right? Negotiating, communicating, bringing out the best in your kids from bringing out the best in you. And you have to be honest. There's not a lot of men who would say the best way to communicate with my children is screaming and yelling. It can't be that way. And we have to acknowledge it. We have to be honest. So once we do that, what are better ways? And again, we talk about this all the time, the better ways. So I'm not going to dive too deep into it. But I think it is real self-ownership. It's what is a man, what is a father, and how do we go about it? Those are going to be the best ways to combat nice guy syndrome.
I love it. Listen, even the dogs agree. Look, The way we save men, the way we stop the whole nice guy pandemic is to be better men and to save ourselves. Anthony and I have given you great information. We've got a bunch of links below. Check them out if you want greater access. Like, subscribe, share. If you have questions, drop them below. But men, work on you, and that'll change the world. One man at a time.